Ireland, often called the Emerald Isle, is a country that fascinates with its rich history, vibrant culture, and breathtaking landscapes. Known for its centuries-old traditions, enchanting legends, and warm hospitality, Ireland is a destination that captivates both its inhabitants and visitors from all over the world. From the impressive cliffs to the green fields and historic cities, every corner of this country tells a unique story. In this video, we'll introduce you to 21 curious facts about Ireland that you probably don't know. We'll discover everything from the origins of world-famous traditions to surprising quirks about Irish life and culture. Get ready to explore fascinating stories ranging from unusual festivals to historical figures who shaped the country. So subscribe to the channel, grab your Guinness, sit back, and join us on this journey through the heart of Ireland. If you're a beer fan, when you mention Ireland, one of the first things that comes to mind is the famous Guinness beer. Created in 1759 by Arthur Guinness, this dark-colored stout with a distinctive taste has become a worldwide icon. Guinness is produced at the St. James's Gate Brewery in Dublin, one of the oldest and largest breweries in the world. The drink is known for its creamy, dense foam, the result of the special pouring method, which includes a combination of carbon dioxide and nitrogen. As well as being enjoyed in Irish pubs, Guinness is exported to more than 150 countries, making it one of the best-selling beers in the world. The Guinness Storehouse in Dublin is one of the country's main tourist attractions, offering visitors an immersive experience in the history and brewing process. There, you can learn about the legacy of Arthur Guinness, taste different variations of the drink, and enjoy a panoramic view of Dublin from the Gravity Bar. Without a doubt, Guinness is a national symbol that continues to represent the tradition and spirit of Ireland. But did you know that there are some traditions associated with other countries that originated in Ireland? That's the case with our next curiosity. Many people don't know it, but Halloween, celebrated worldwide and closely associated with the United States, has its roots in ancient Ireland. The festival dates back to the Celtic festival of Samhain, which marked the end of summer and the beginning of the Celtic New Year, on the night of October 31st. The Celts believed that on this night the spirits of the dead returned to Earth, and to ward off these spirits, they lit huge bonfires and wore frightening costumes. With the arrival of Christianity, the Samhain festival was incorporated into All Saints' Day, but many of the pagan traditions survived. The customs of carving pumpkins, originally turnips, and asking for sweets from door to door also have Celtic origins. The tradition of carving vegetables with scary faces was a way of warding off evil spirits. When the Irish emigrated to the United States in the 19th century, they took these traditions with them, which evolved into the modern Halloween. Today, Ireland celebrates Halloween with enthusiasm, keeping the old traditions alive and mixing them with modern festivities such as parties, parades, and of course, lots of mischief. This festive atmosphere takes over practically the whole country, but it doesn't quite fit in with the habits of the people on the small Irish island we're about to meet. Ireland is made up of several islands, something you probably already know. But among so many, there is one that aroused the curiosity of a scholar in the 1960s, for a peculiar reason to say the least. Anthropologist John Cowan Messenger discovered that there were around 350 people who lived in a completely different way to the rest of the country, with some customs that may seem strange even today. He observed that the population was made up entirely of devout Catholics, and that they had a very strict view of morality and sexual behavior. On this small island, any kind of nudity was frowned upon by the locals, and even acts such as bathing were taboo. According to the researcher, the locals bathed in their clothes, or just cleaned the visible parts of their bodies. The same modesty was observed in sexual relations. The island's inhabitants considered sex to be something bad, and a sacrifice that should only be made for procreation. On the island, interactions were very limited, and not even in the intimacy of the couple would they go without clothes, even during sex. If you're curious to know what this island is, we have some not-so-good news, because the study used a fictitious name to preserve the local population. The pseudonym given to the island was Innisbig, which means small island. That's an easy name, But in Ireland, there's a place that's practically unpronounceable. In Ireland, place names can be quite complex, but none beats that of a village in County Galway. I'll try to pronounce the name, but anyway, I'll leave it written on the screen so you can see how it's spelled. So, here we go. The name of the village is Muckanachedar de Howlia, and it has just as big a meaning. In Ireland, place names can be quite complex, but nothing beats this one, which I don't want to repeat, and which means pig farms between two stretches of salt water. The Irish language is known for its descriptive and often poetic place names, and this village I don't want to say the name of is no exception. Although the village itself is small and quiet, its name attracts the curiosity of visitors and linguistics enthusiasts from all over the world. The complex pronunciation and spelling reflect Ireland's rich linguistic and cultural heritage, where many place names are derived from geographical or historical features. This quirky name is a perfect example of how the Irish language can be both a challenge and a beautiful expression of national identity. For those who venture to visit the village with the unpronounceable name, it is an excellent opportunity to experience an authentic and little-known piece of rural Ireland. The Irish language naturally represents the country, but for many people the true symbol of Ireland is the shamrock. And if you're among those people, I'm sorry to tell you that you're mistaken. Contrary to popular belief, the official symbol of Ireland is not the shamrock, but the harp. The harp is a national symbol that appears on many aspects of Irish culture, from coins to passports, and is used by various official institutions, including the Irish government. The Irish harp is a musical instrument with a long and rich history, dating back to ancient times, and is often associated with the Celtic bards who played it at celebrations and important events. The shamrock gained popularity as a symbol of Ireland mainly because of St. Patrick, who, according to legend, used the three-leafed plant to explain the Holy Trinity to the pagan Irish. Although the shamrock is widely recognized as an unofficial emblem of Ireland and associated with St. Patrick's Day, the harp retains its status as the country's official symbol. This instrument not only represents Ireland's musical heritage, but also the resilience and cultural identity of the Irish people over the centuries. Just to add to the curiosity, Ireland is the only country that has a musical instrument as its official symbol. But unofficially, the country has many other elements that may well represent Ireland, such as the hurling, which I'll explain to you in a moment. Continuing our journey through Ireland, let's explore a traditional sport that is older than Christianity itself on the island: hurling. This sport, often described as a combination of field hockey and lacrosse, is played with a wooden stick called a hurley and a small ball known as a sliotar. Hurling is incredibly fast and requires impressive skills, with players reaching incredible speeds as they try to score points by throwing the ball between their opponent's posts. The sport is so beloved in Ireland that it attracts huge crowds at major events such as the All-Ireland Hurling Championship, where teams from all over the country compete fiercely. The Irish passion for hurling reflects the importance of traditions and cultural identity, showing how ancient practices are still alive and vibrant in the people's hearts. According to some records, the Irish have been practicing hurling for at least 3,000 years, making it one of the oldest field games in the world. As well as being ancient, hurling is fast, and as the ball can reach up to 120 kilometers per hour, one blink can be enough to miss that spectacular shot. And while we're on the subject of traditions and fascinating stories, did you know that Dracula's real home is Ireland? Although the scary vampire is usually associated with Transylvania, the author of the famous novel, Bram Stoker, was Irish. Born in Dublin in 1847, Stoker was inspired by Irish legends and myths when creating his iconic vampire. The influence of Ireland's rich oral culture and horror stories is evident in the pages of Dracula. In addition, Ireland has its own sinister castle, Leap Castle, considered one of the most haunted castles in the world. This place, with its history of bloody battles and ghostly apparitions, could easily have inspired Stoker. Leap Castle is famous for its reports of paranormal activity, including the presence of an entity known as the Elemental, a spirit that exudes a pungent smell of sulfur. Thus, The link between Ireland and Dracula runs deeper than many realize, intertwining Gothic literature with Irish folklore and creating a lasting connection between fictional horror and the haunted traditions of the Emerald Isle. From horror stories, we move on to a peculiar and festive tradition. In the small town of Killorglin in County Kerry, Puck Fair takes place, one of Ireland's oldest festivals, dating back over 400 years. During the festival, a wild goat is captured in the mountains, crowned as King Puck, and placed in a tower in the center of town. The preparation for the coronation is an event in itself, where the locals get involved in a search in the mountains to find the perfect goat. Once captured, the goat is taken with great pomp and ceremony to the town, where it is officially crowned and treated like royalty during the 3 days of festivities. The exact origin of this tradition is uncertain, but it is believed that it may have pagan roots or be linked to local historical events. During Puck Fair, Killorglin is transformed with parades, music, dancing, and lots of fun. The town is filled with food stalls, crafts, and games, while street performers and bands entertain the crowds. The choosing and crowning of the goat as king are highlights of the festival, symbolizing the unity of the community and the joyful spirit of the event, showing how ancient traditions continue to bring color and life to Irish culture. And if you think you've seen it all, just wait until you see Ireland's kangaroos. It may sound strange, but on the island of Lambay, located off the coast of Dublin, there is a small population of kangaroos. These Australian marsupials were introduced to the island at the beginning of the 20th century by the island's owner, Rupert Baring, who had a passion for exotic animals. Today, kangaroos thrive on Lambay, living in harmony with the local fauna. The island is privately owned and not open to the public, but knowing that kangaroos roam freely there is one of the most surprising curiosities about Ireland. This story illustrates just how unpredictable and fascinating the island's biodiversity can be. Moving on from kangaroos to another curious fact, did you know that there are no snakes in Ireland? According to legend, St. Patrick, the country's patron saint, drove all the snakes off the island during the 5th century. Of course, this is a popular version of the story. And the truth is that the absence of snakes in Ireland is due to geological and climatic factors. During the last ice age, the island was isolated by cold waters, preventing snakes from being able to migrate there. Since then, Ireland has remained snake-free, a fact that contributes to the fascination and mythology surrounding St. Patrick. This detail is yet another example of how natural history and religious legends are intertwined in Irish culture. And while we're on the subject of St. Patrick, it's time to debunk a great myth. St. Patrick wasn't Irish. In fact, he was born in Great Britain at the end of the 4th century. He was kidnapped and taken to Ireland as a slave when he was just 16 years old. After 6 years, he managed to escape, but then returned as a missionary to convert the Irish to Christianity. It's the perfect case for the saying, a household saint can't work a miracle, since it took a Briton to work the miracle of converting Ireland. Ironically, the most Irish saint of all wasn't even from the island. So the next time you raise a pint of Guinness on St. Patrick's Day, remember to toast the Briton who became Ireland's patron saint. After all, history shows us that you don't always have to be a local to make history in a place. And speaking of saints with a curious history, did you know that Saint Valentine is buried in Ireland? That's right. The patron saint of lovers rests in Dublin. His remains were brought to Whitefriars Street Church in 1836 as a gift from Pope Gregory XVI. The church, situated in the heart of Dublin, has become a popular destination for couples seeking a special blessing for their relationships. So, if you're looking for a special place to take your sweetheart on Valentine's Day, how about a visit to St. Valentine's tomb? Nothing says I love you like a romantic stroll among the relics of the patron saint of lovers. Well, maybe a diamond says I love you better, but that's a matter of taste. For those who still prefer a stroll, the church holds a special Mass on February 14th, where couples can renew their vows and receive a blessing, making the occasion even more memorable. And when talking about St. Valentine and his connection to Irish culture and tradition, we can't help but mention another fascinating aspect of Irish identity: the country's own language, Gaelic. Ireland is a bilingual country, and in addition to English, Irish, or Gaelic, is the official language. But don't worry, you don't need to learn Gaelic to order a Guinness. The Irish language is rich in history and is taught in schools, but its everyday use is more common in rural areas, which are called the Gaeltacht. In these areas, Gaelic is often spoken at home, in stores, and even in schools, keeping the country's cultural heritage alive. It's such a complex language that even the Irish sometimes struggle with it. The grammatical structure and pronunciation can be challenging, but this only adds to the charm of the language. I think you've already had a little taste of it when we say the unpronounceable name of that village. So if you come across a road sign in Gaelic and don't understand a thing, just smile and nod. You're in Ireland, where even the language is an adventure. What's more, many signs and advertisements are bilingual, making life easier for visitors. Immersing yourself in Irish linguistic culture is a unique and fascinating experience. And while we're on the subject of the Irish population, let's debunk another myth. Only around 10% of Irish people have red hair. Despite the popular image of the fire-haired Irish, the majority have brown or blonde hair. The genetics of the Irish population are diverse and fascinating, and although redheads are a minority, they have a strong cultural presence. Redheads are often celebrated at festivals, such as the Redhead Convention, which takes place annually in Crosshaven, County Cork. But let's face it, Irish redheads are so iconic that they seem more numerous. So if you don't see many redheads on your visit, don't worry, you're still in Ireland. What's more, the Irish landscape is so stunning that you're sure to be captivated by the country's beauty, regardless of the color of its inhabitants' hair. And speaking of striking aspects of the Irish population, we can't fail to mention one of the most tragic and life-changing events in Irish history, the Great Famine. The Great Famine, which hit the country between 1845 and 1849, was a tragedy that changed Ireland forever. The famine, caused by the potato blight, resulted in the deaths of around 1 million people and the emigration of more than 1 million. It was a devastating blow to the island's population, which fell from around 8 million to 6 million. This catastrophic event left deep scars on Irish society, with economic, social, and cultural impacts that are still felt today. The loss of life and the mass exodus of Irish people changed the country's demographics irreversibly. Today, Ireland's population has still not returned to the level it was before the famine. But the resilience of the Irish is a testament to their strength and determination. The memory of the Great Famine continues to be honored, serving as a powerful reminder of the capacity to overcome and the importance of solidarity. Despite the challenges of the past, Ireland has reinvented itself and prospered, especially in the capital Dublin, our next destination. Despite the challenges of the past, Ireland has reinvented itself and prospered, especially in its vibrant capital, Dublin. However, this prosperity has brought with it a high cost of living, making Dublin one of the most expensive cities in Europe. With high rents and a high cost of living, living in Dublin can make your pocket cry as much as a traditional Irish song. The average rent in the city is one of the highest on the continent, and the prices of products and services also follow this trend. But believe me, the vibrant cultural life, lively pubs, and welcoming atmosphere are worth every penny. Dublin is famous for its festivals, such as the St. Patrick's Festival and the Dublin Theatre Festival, which attract tourists from all over the world. In addition, the numerous museums, art galleries, and parks offer a plethora of cultural activities. And if you can't afford to buy a house there, don't worry. You can always visit and enjoy it like a true Dubliner, with a smile on your face and a beer in your hand. And who knows, maybe even make some local friends while enjoying live music in one of the many traditional pubs. Speaking of joy, let's talk about Gaelic soccer, one of Ireland's most popular and exciting sports. This sport, which mixes elements of soccer and rugby, is played with passion all over the country. The All-Ireland Football Championship Final is a huge event that attracts thousands of fans to Croke Park in Dublin. The streets fill with fans dressed in the colors of their counties, creating an electrifying atmosphere that can only be compared to a great festival. If you think Gaelic soccer is just a sport, think again. It's almost a religion in Ireland. The tradition and pride surrounding the sport is passed down from generation to generation, with children learning to play from an early age. And even if you don't understand all the rules, the enthusiasm of the fans is infectious. Get ready to cheer, shout, and of course, celebrate with another beer after the game. Attending a Gaelic soccer match is undoubtedly an unforgettable experience and a great way to connect with Irish culture. Moving on, did you know that Ireland has only 5 officially recognized cities? Dublin, Cork, Limerick, Galway, and Waterford are the only cities with official status. This may seem surprising, especially considering that many places you might think of as cities, such as Kilkenny or Sligo, are technically considered towns. This status is determined by a series of historical and administrative factors. However, regardless of the official title, all these localities have their own charm and unique personality. So, on your next trip to Ireland, don't worry about labels and enjoy every corner, town, or city, because each one has something special to offer. Speaking of Irish identity, here's a curiosity that goes beyond the borders of the Emerald Isle. There are more Irish people living outside Ireland than in the country itself. It is estimated that around 80 million people around the world claim Irish descent, while the population on the island is around 5 million. The Great Irish Diaspora spread around the world, especially during the Great Famine of the 19th century, creating significant Irish communities in the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia. So if you meet an Irish person in any corner of the world, know that they probably have a good story to tell about their roots. Moving on from cultural traditions to a macabre historical curiosity, did you know that the guillotine, often associated with the French Revolution, has its origins in Ireland? It's true. The execution device known as the guillotine was supposedly used for the first time in Ireland in the middle of the 16th century. The instrument, which obviously didn't have this name, was used in Galway, centuries before it became famous in France. Although not exactly something to be proud of, it is a fascinating fact that highlights Ireland's unexpected contributions to world history. But so as not to lose our heads, let's change the subject. Let's talk about something that's much more cheerful: Irish surnames. If you've ever wondered about the prefixes Mac and O in Irish surnames, they have interesting historical meanings. Mac means son of in Gaelic, while O means descendant of. These prefixes are used to indicate family lineage and are a fundamental part of Irish heritage. For example, McCarthy means son of Carthy, and O'Connor means descendant of Connor. These surnames are not just names, but a living connection to the history and genealogy of Irish families. So if you meet someone with a surname beginning with Mac or O, you're looking at a person with a rich historical heritage. And there you have it. We've explored 21 fascinating facts about Ireland, from its unique cultural traditions and sports to lesser-known stories and surprising historical facts. Every aspect of Ireland contributes to its irresistible charm and rich cultural tapestry. We hope you've enjoyed this journey through the heart of the Emerald Isle as much as we have. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more great content about the world's most fascinating places. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.